This guide is going to focus on installing Star Wars Galaxies through the SWG source repositories. This is your primary repo from the Discord channel, and we're going to use Docker to install it. So first thing you need is you need to install Git. If you haven't installed it, this is going to be how you're going to clone the project. Let's assume that everyone's running on Windows, preferably Windows 11, and you will come here, install the Windows 64 setup, run that, download it, install it, possibly need to restart your computer, but go ahead and do that. You can get that at this web link right here, the URL. The next thing you'll need is to install Docker Desktop. So that's at, you can Google search Docker Desktop or go to this URL right here, docker.com, products, Docker-desktop. And then you want to install Docker Desktop for Windows, which is going to be, let's see, AMD 64. I wouldn't put it on ARM. That's not the right one. AMD 64. So once you install that, you'll more than likely need to restart your computer, and then you'll get an application like this. You won't have any containers running yet until we start the process, but you absolutely need to have Docker Desktop installed, and you need to have Git installed in order to do this process. All right, let's assume you've got everything running. We'll minimize that for now. Now you need to go and pull the project. So what we'll do is we'll come to this URL up here. That'll be linked. This is the public Star Wars Galaxies Docker server. And we need to go to code right here. And you'll want to clone with HTTPS since you do not have an SSH setup on my GitLab. So you'll want to clone here. This is the public way to clone it. So you can hit copy URL, and then you want to open up your folders, whatever, and you want to go to your user folder or your desktop. Let's just go to desktop, ignore that. And so we'll create a new, we'll right click. Now that we've installed git bash, we'll have these options right here. If you don't see them, you probably have a show more options but at the bottom here. If not, restart your computer and you should have the git bash if it's installed properly. So open up git bash here. So now you have a terminal. And what we can do is that thing we just copied right here, copy URL, clone with HTTPS, that's going to copy to the clipboard. And we can come here, right click, paste it. And then you can hit the home key, take you to the front, and we'll type git clone space, and then that URL. All right, so then we can hit enter. And now it's going to clone the Docker project locally to your machine. And we can type ls, and we can see that it created a new folder. Okay, that's all we need to do here for now. Let's go and we can refresh, and here's the folder, and here's all the project files. Okay, so that is going to allow us to pull and run and create the Star Wars image. I'm going to close this folder now because it's no longer relevant. And let's look at the README. I'm going to put this side by side. Oops. Okay. So now we're going to look at the README. We clone the repository. So the optional thing to do is to set up your .env file if you have your own repo. We're going to ignore that because we're going to do the default option, which is to pull the SWG source. So I'm going to take this thing right here. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go, I guess I should have left it open. I'm going to go back to my desktop in here. I'm going to right click, new, where is it? Text. And I'm going to say .env. Let's actually do it a different way. Sorry. Let's do it through here. So on the terminal, I did ls again to see my folder structure, and now I'm going to go into this directory. So cd swg dash server dash docker. That's going to take me into that directory, ls. Okay, those are the files. And now I'm going to say vim or vim space .env. That's going to use the text editor vim, and it's going to create the file .env. I hit enter, and now it opens up the text editor. And so what I want to do here is just right click, paste. Oops, I need to hit I to insert, right click, paste. I need to copy it again. Ignore that. Okay, I'm gonna come back here, copy that, come back to here, hit I for insert, and then right click, paste. There we go. I have the little recording thing in the way, so it's hard to see. All right, so now what we have here is the repo for SWG source. We're going to set a repo username if we have it, or a repo password. We don't need this for source, so I'm going to put a comment here, okay? And that's a hashtag. So I'm still in the insert mode. If you can't type, you need to hit I to insert. And then you use the arrow keys to navigate, and you can hit the shift 3 for the pound, and comment goes out. So these are not commented, okay? We're going to keep the DB user and DB password as SWG for now. It really doesn't matter what you set them to. And so now we're going to hit escape on the keyboard. And now the insert went away at the bottom. And we're going to say, we're going to hold the shift, and we're going to hold the colon. And that's going to put the command option here. I'm going to say WQ, type WQ keys, and then enter. And now that shift enter, we can see if it's saved correctly by typing cat.env, cat space.env, and that'll show us all the contents of the file, and that's saved properly. So that's all set. Now I'm going to type clear, and I'm going to type ls again. And so now we have, ls-al, and so now we can see that we have a .env file, and that's going to allow us to use the source repository as a default, okay? Let's come back here. So now we need to build it. There's only a couple commands left. So we're going to say, in this directory, swg server docker, we're going to type docker compose up -v --build. And it doesn't say this here. It's just an optional command if you're doing this multiple times, --remove -orphans. What this does is it will remove any existing image to clear space on your machine. It's a totally optional command. I like to do it. You can follow the command in the README. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to pull all the dependencies. Okay. While this is running, we can look at what this is doing. So we'll go to the Docker file, and it's going to pull the Ubuntu 18 dependency. It's going to set the architecture, the repositories to i386, which is your 32-bit repositories, and it's going to update everything locally from this 1804 distro. Then it's going to install all the necessary dependencies needed to compile the SWG repo. Okay, it's going to clean. It's going to remove the unnecessary stuff, because what we're doing is we're creating an image that has all the dependencies. So every time you start this Docker project, it's going to be a snapshot. And so we want it to be a nice, clean, lightweight snapshot, okay? Then what we're going to do down here is we're going to ignore this. This is the, I'll just explain it. It's the special configuration to get the separate database and server running. It doesn't matter. It just gets it running properly. We're going to install all the dependencies for Oracle, because we're actually running a separate container just for the database. So in this sense, Docker has two containers. It has the SWG server running, and then it also has the Oracle database running in a separate instance. And they talk to each other as if they were remote, okay? So now we're just getting all the dependencies installed down to here. And so here is actually where we're going to clone the source repository. We have it set up in our environment, and you can see that it's cloning right now. It's cloning the D source, the exe, server data, source, station API, etc. Yours will likely hang on server data for a little while because it's like 2 or 3 GB. And now it's actually running some commands. It's preparing the database with some local properties, and it's getting it ready to run. So we're almost done. Once this, it's actually building the image right now. So once this image is done, you have everything necessary for Star Wars to run. And this is the server side. Okay. Um, that's going to take another moment. So I'm just going to pause and let this finish.